What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1443 of Toronto Mike. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball, the best baseball in the city outside the dome, with 8 championships since 1967. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James Canada. Valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focused on long-term success. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mike debut, is James Clark. Welcome, James.
Thanks, Mike. Lovely to be here.
Where's the Institute? Okay, I've been hearing about James Clark Institute. Where is the Institute?
Where is it? Well, the Institute is pretty much me. So I'm right here.
Okay, you're one of those guys. Like, so to make you seem bigger, you've got a consortium of sorts. It's the Institute, not just James Clark.
No, that's right. It's a band. It's a rock band. Been playing around Toronto forever.
It's a combo. It's a rock and roll combo.
Exactly. Well, actually, now it's 6 people. So what's that? That's
sextup. Sextup. I don't. That's a good question. What it is? It's sexy something.
Yeah.
Okay, James. Well, thirdly, I'm really excited to meet you. Cam Carpenter tells me you live in my backyard. So without being uber specific, are you like in Long Branch? Where are you coming from?
No, I am coming just a little bit east of you. So I am down near
Mimico.
Roy York.
So Mimico. So Dwight is the border. So once you cross to the east,
So I'm officially in Mimico.
Yeah, because New Toronto is the numbered street. So once you leave the numbered streets, you're in Mimico. Okay.
I had no idea. Okay. Good.
A lot of people think when they visit me, they think they're in Mimico, and I have to correct them.
Because you're in, what are you in?
New Toronto.
New Toronto, right.
But this is not Mimico, but you live in Mimico.
Yes.
I was at Mimico Arena for a hockey game yesterday.
Okay.
Love me. So do you frequent, for example, San Remo Bakery? Would you go there?
I have been there, yes. Love it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to touch on all the Mimico Institution. Did you know, it's funny I called your outfit the James Clark Institute. I called it a combo because there was a roller rink in Mimico on Lakeshore called the Mimicombo.
That's right. I remember it well.
And there's a great poster that you can find sometimes about the first Canadian appearance of the hardest working man in showbiz, James Brown.
No way. Really?
He played the Mimicombo. Yeah.
Did he play or did he just roller skate?
You know what? Here's my question, James. Did he play while on roller skates?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because he could do that.
I'd love to see some video.
Well, I bet you could do that too. So we're going to get to know you better. I've pulled some great jams. Long ride for you here from Mimico. And thank you for the coffee. Not every guest brings me a coffee.
Well, of course, I need coffee, so I figured you probably do too. I just got up like 20 minutes ago.
Because you're a rock and roll star.
Exactly, and I just live 20 minutes away. So.
Well, now I feel bad. I feel like we could have done this in the afternoon, but I'm glad you're here, man.
Yeah.
And so let's shout out the great Cam Carpenter, because he's a great FOTM friend of Toronto Mike, but he introduced me to you.
Yes, he is a great guy. Yes.
How do you know? Just give me a little 101 on how you know Cam Carpenter.
Okay. Well, I've heard of Cam for many, many, many years. Never quite knew him until I was releasing the second latest album. Moe Berg produced the album, and I said to Moe, "Hey, Moe, you probably know someone I could contact about publicity." He said, "Yeah, of course, Cam Carpenter. He's your man." So I reached out to Cam, and lickety split, he was my publicist, and he has been ever since.
Okay, so Cam Carpenter, great FOTM. You just name dropped another great FOTM we're going to talk more about soon. Moe Berg. So basically, were you a fan of The Pursuit of Happiness? How did you know Moe Berg?
Yeah, way back. Even before, when he first started playing in Toronto, like the mid-'80s.
Right. When he came from Edmonton.
Yeah, I think probably 86 I saw them for the first time, something like that. And yeah, I fell in love with the band right away. In fact, at the time, I was thinking I wanted to do something similar to that. So when I saw that on stage, I thought, damn it, this guy grabbed my idea. But anyways, I was a big fan of Moe's, and then I got to meet him probably 25 years ago or something. I was playing drums in a surf band in Toronto, and the guitarist knew him, and he was going to bring Moe on board to produce our second record. And I got very excited. Sadly, that didn't happen. But we kept in touch ever since, and we started working together probably 10 years ago or so.
What was the name of the surf band?
We were called the Syntones.
Okay, and it didn't work out for the Syntones, did it?
We did 2 records, and it was kind of happening there for a while.
Okay, no, I wish I'd pulled some Syntones songs here, but okay. So we're gonna learn about everything. So let me just, before we get to know the ongoing history of James Clark, and I want to find out all about your career. I pulled some choice James Clark Institute jams. We'll talk more about, working with Moe Berg, who I just saw at the Horseshoe Tavern when he was with the Trans-Canada Highwaymen.
I was there too.
Okay, so I put myself in first row of the stage, right in front of the stage, nothing between me and the stage, right in front of Moe. So it's like he was spitting on me the whole night,
Did he know he was spitting on you? Was it?
Well, he can't help it. He's an adult now, but he still spits a little bit here. Right. But you were there too. Okay, that was a great show.
It was a fantastic show.
Just prior to that show, Stephen Page and Chris Murphy were down here to kind of chat it up and
right in these seats. Right in here.
Yeah, like you're sitting on the Chris Murphy seat.
Oh, jeez.
Are you as funny as Chris Murphy?
I'm as good a drummer as Chris Murphy. I don't care what Cam Carpenter says.
Yeah, he's a good drummer.
He's a great drummer.
He loves getting back there. It's interesting. All 4 of them, I think they all take turns behind the kit there in Trans-Canada Highwaymen, because even Stephen Page, who I think might be the least comfy back there, he's playing drums for something or other.
Yeah, I was so excited to see Moe go back there for one tune.
Yeah. It's wild. Okay, so a lot of ground we're going to cover. Again, this is Toronto Mike, so don't be shy of the tangent. Okay, this isn't CBC radio. You don't have to keep your, in CBC they like you to stay focused, right? They don't want you to go off, but here I like to go off, maybe a little journey, pick some flowers over here,
okay,
and then we'll come back, right?
All right, sure.
Tangents are welcome. And here's our first tangent, because I'm going to play a little music from an artist, and then just talk to you about this artist before we get back to James Clark.
Okay.
Here we go.
The title is the First Lady of Canadian Jazz Singers. Our next guest would definitely be a contender. First, because her style and sensitivity are reminiscent of the legends, singers like Billie Holiday and Lena Horne and, of course, Ella. And secondly, because as a first-ranked jazz singer, she chose to remain in this country and break new ground as the first jazz singer ever to have her own CBC series. And thirdly, because she's such a beautiful and dedicated lady, Miss Eleanor Collins.
On the day I was born, said my father, said he, of an elegant legacy just waiting for you, to the rhyme for your lips and the song for your heart, to sing it whenever the world falls apart. Oh, look, look, look. Look, look, look. Love.
feels almost sacrilegious to bring this down, but this is okay. So James, this is Eleanor Collins. I'm going to reveal something kind of embarrassing. I was unfamiliar with Eleanor Collins. Am I the only one?
No, I'm not familiar either.
But
that's a great track.
Now I feel better. Yeah, isn't it amazing?
It's amazing, yes.
So I learned, I'm listening to CBC Radio yesterday, and they're talking about Canada's, what's her term? Godmother of jazz or something. She's
Really?
got the first lady of jazz, I think. Canada's first lady of jazz. And then there's talk about, she passed away this week.
Oh, gosh.
104 years old.
And I don't know her. I've never heard of her, I don't think.
So what's wrong with us? Like, okay, no, seriously, what is wrong with us? Because I'm listening to this, and then I dive into more Eleanor Collins. Amazing, like absolutely amazing. And then I find out, a couple years ago they issued a stamp to commemorate her, so she wasn't completely ignored or anything of that nature. But completely, I who consider myself a guy who's kind of trying to keep track of what's going on in the zeitgeist, I completely missed her for 100. She was alive for 104 years. I completely missed her. She's amazing. She's so accomplished. She was in Edmonton, Alberta, but just I'm wondering how the heck this can happen. Is that a Canadian thing? What are your thoughts? Like, how the hell? What's wrong with us?
I think you're right. I think that is a bit of a Canadian thing. Of course, I mean, you think I would have heard of her, even though I'm not like a giant jazz fan. You think I would have heard of her at least, but I don't. But I haven't bought a stamp in years either. So, what show is that from that you were?
So this is a 1980 show called. The song is called "Look to the Rainbow," and this is she's playing with the Tommy Banks Orchestra, and it was a series called Jazz Canada that aired on CBC, so nationwide in 1980. Now I will tell you, James, I think we're similar vintage, but I can tell you in 1980, I was more of a Sesame Street guy. Like I wasn't really dialed into what, I wouldn't be watching a show like Jazz Canada in 1980. So I did miss a lot of Eleanor Collins, but I mean, she just passed away this week.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. We are probably the same vintage. And back then, CBC, probably Sesame Street was probably the only show I was watching on CBC at the time.
Right.
But I don't know. Now I have to.
You gotta catch up now. That's what this is for. I figured, okay, you're the first episode since I learned about Eleanor Collins, and I'm here to say, everybody, go listen to some Eleanor Collins, and don't be embarrassed or shy if you're 5 decades old and you're like, I don't know this name, Eleanor Collins, because you're not alone. But absolutely accomplished. I think she was the first black woman to host a national television show in this country.
And you know what? I'm assuming she recorded and made records.
Yeah.
And I work in a record shop. I have never seen one of her records come through the show.
Better late than never. We're gonna scream from the rafters. Eleanor Collins. This song was "Look to the Rainbow," and it was beautiful. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, this is as good as any American jazz legend that we would all we will praise and worship, and completely, I think, under the radar. And
sadly, she was Canadian.
Whoever decided to pick Edmonton, I guess that was it. But maybe it's because she's not Toronto; she's Edmonton. Maybe that works against her too. But Moe Berg had to come here to be a star.
That's right. Yeah. You're right.
Maybe that's it. So I thought I have a great musician in the studio. Let's remember Eleanor Collins and find out if I'm the only one who didn't know about her.
Well, I know what I'm doing today after I leave here.
Yeah, Eleanor Collins. And it's even a great name, right? Eleanor Collins, jazz vocalist, Canadian legend, dead at 104. And what a great life. I always think, imagine, and I don't know what the last years of her life were like, but imagine you make it to 104. Can you imagine?
No, I cannot imagine that at all. No.
Okay.
No. I can't even imagine 64, actually.
There's a song about that, I think. Will you still let me? Okay. I'm going to ask, when did you realize, James? First of all, are you a Toronto guy? Did you?
I am. I grew up not far from here, just a little further west.
So did you grow up in Long Branch? I'm trying to work Long Branch into the convo.
Okay.
How far west do we have to go?
You know what? I grew up in a little community called, I'm sure you'll be familiar with this, Alderwood.
Of course.
Alderwood.
They got a swimming pool. I vote there sometimes in advance voting.
Okay. Well,
is there Il Paisanos? Is there?
Yes, Mike. I still buy a pizza from Il Paisano.
I don't blame you. It's amazing.
It is. It's fantastic. It's an institution. Speaking, there's a tie-in.
Yeah. So, the James Clark Institution. See what we're doing there.
Yeah.
All right, so you're an Alderwood guy. That's
Yep.
very close.
And I've moved out of this part of the city. I mean, I've stayed in Toronto all my life, but I've moved to various parts. But I always get sucked back into this
South
this area.
Etobicoke?
Yes.
What's bringing you back? Like, is it that you're drawn to the lake?
Funny you should say that, because I've lived near the lake for so many years now. I can't imagine not living.
I'm
by
100%
lake.
with you. I had this chat with my wife this last weekend. I can't. We were talking about moving to the other side of Lakeshore, and I'm like, I can't be that far from the lake anymore. Like, I can't be on that side of Lakeshore. Like, I absolutely feel like now I need to live the rest of my life as close to the lake as possible.
Yes, I spend as much time by the lake as I can, because there's something that just refreshes me. If I'm feeling a little low that day, I just take a walk to the lake.
Right.
If it doesn't smell too bad, it's wonderful.
There's some patches are better than others, but I bike along it every single day. I'll be there after you say goodbye. I'm going to go for a ride on the waterfront trail and see the lake. Okay, so you're growing up in Alderwood. At what point, James, do you realize that you would like to be a musician? When does that itch?
Probably I was 8 years old, and banging on pots and pans. Excuse me. I wanted to be a drummer. I had an older brother. He was about 3 or 4 years older than me, and he had seen the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and so, like every other kid in the world, wanted to be a Beatle. So he got the bug, and then he encouraged me to come along and be part of it.
Amazing.
So it happened early on.
What high school did you go to?
Alderwood Collegiate.
There you go.
When I decided to go, that's the school I went to.
Where is so Lakeshore Collegiate? I know it's like Kipling and Birmingham or whatever,
Yes.
but where's Alderwood Collegiate?
It's off of Brown's Line,
Okay.
a little further up between Lakeshore and Evans Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on Valermo Drive.
You're on my hood. You're in my hood here. Okay. So, what happens? What instrument? Like, give me the bio. At some point, I'm going to introduce some of your music, and we'll talk about it. There's one song I was listening to last night, and I was thinking, the perfect song for one of our sponsors, Ridley Funeral Home. But we'll get to that song later.
Oh, jeez.
You can almost guess which song that is, I bet. But give me a little bit more about your first bands, when you started playing.
Well, I mean, like I said, I had a brother, and we played in basement bands. Growing up, we never made it out of the basement. We made it into the backyard once, and then the police were called. And
Is that true?
ended that. Yeah, it's true. It's a Saturday night. I think I was 12 years old. It was the summertime, early Saturday evening, playing, and then all of a sudden,
You were too
Adam
loud.
12 shows up at the door and shuts us down. Yeah. So So from there, I mean, I'd always play drums, but I always loved writing songs too. And even before I, could play guitar, I was writing lyrics and melodies and stuff like that. And so I always knew that I'd probably eventually like to pick up guitar and do my own thing. And that happened when I was probably in my late 20s. I started doing that.
Okay, that sounds almost late. Like, did you pursue?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so
I had tried in the past. My brother had tried to, give me lessons, but, making that F chord, it's just, oh my gosh, the pain I suffered. So I pick it up, I put it down, I pick it up, put it down.
Right.
And then what happened was, and I'm sure there's probably a connection here, but in my mid-20s, my father passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it was a long time ago, but thank you. But he passed away, and as soon as that happened, I picked up guitar and I did not put it down. And all of my lyrics became very personal. I wrote songs about my father.
Yeah.
I think I was carrying around a lot of guilt because we didn't really have a great relationship. So
Oh, sorry.
I had
Sorry,
to
Melissa. So I was because you made the comment, it was a long time ago, and I do co-host this show with Brad Jones from Ridley Funeral Home, and we talk a lot about
I know Brad.
So
I've met
how
Brad.
do you know Brad?
I've attended some funerals there.
Yeah.
In fact,
Because you're a local guy. You're a
Yeah.
Lakeshore Village man.
that's right. Yeah.
Brad's a sweetheart.
He is a very nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. But we'll talk a lot about, does time heal that wound? Like, sure, time goes on, and you're like, that was a long time ago. It's okay. But, you don't really, time's not this magic wand that suddenly you don't miss somebody or have regrets. Like, it sounds like maybe I don't know if you even want to go there, but maybe there's regret that things, he passed away before you could amend
Absolutely.
your relationship.
Absolutely. We weren't close at all. and there was so many looking back, so many questions that I should have just asked. I mean, he had this career before we were born. He was a fighter, like a boxer.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know nothing about that career, really. He didn't talk about it much. He'd say a few things here and there. In fact, he used to tell stories where he told us many times that he'd fought Sugar Ray.
Wow.
Robin.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
I
bad.
thought, wow. And then he passed, in the late 80s, before the internet or anything. So once the internet was born, I started trying to research stuff, and I found some stuff not long ago, and I'm kind of regretting that I tried to research his career, because I did find a list of Sugar Ray's fights, and I found one where he fought this fighter named Dave Clark, and that was the name my father was fighting under, Dave Clark. I thought, wow, I found this fight. Amazing. It exists. And then I researched it further, and I found a newspaper from the night of the fight, or the night after the fight, when Sugar Ray had knocked out my father, supposedly. And I found this photo on the front page of the sports section of the newspaper, and it's this giant photo. So I'm scrolling around to see it, and I see Sugar Ray giving the final punch. Oh my God! And I scroll down a little further, and there's Dave Clark just falling to the mat. But Dave Clark was a black man.
Right. Interesting.
And I didn't know my father for a while, but I knew he wasn't a black man.
Right. That much he knew was true.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, wow, is my father lying to us? Was he trying? What? So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I only just met you, but now I'm very kind of invested in this whole like it's good. You can't have that chat with your dad now. But did he kind of like build himself out to be bigger than he was by assuming, because he had the same name, and he's like, okay, there's a coincidence. Maybe forgetting that, not knowing that at some point people would be able to do what you did and actually see a photo of that fight and that Dave Clark, and then realize that it wasn't him. It's very interesting.
Very interesting. And I also found out, which I found very strange, was at that time, there were a number of fighters named Dave Clark. It's crazy. I don't know why. I mean,
well, it sounds like it would be a common name. A lot of Daves that age, and Clark's a very common last name. So it's sort of like, go count the Mike Smiths out there.
My father's name was actually Don, and why he chose to fight under Dave, I don't know.
In tribute to the Dave Clark 5.
Possibly.
Plot thickens here, but
Yeah. And I know he did fight, and he did fight in the States, because I found other literature that says, yes, he did.
He might
fight.
just have embellished, maybe to seem like a bigger deal in front of his kids. Possibly. I could see that, and there's a whole, you could dig into that. But I feel like there is a mini doc here. Like maybe it's not.
I know.
There's a mini doc here about this.
Unfortunately, a lot of people that maybe could know or tell me things probably also passed on.
But that's sort of part of the doc, like to see who's still left, who can, who saw your dad fight. Like you almost, I feel like you need to do this. Like you need to at least make an attempt to, you know what it's like. You get a lead and you follow up on somebody, you find out somebody passed, but maybe their kid will talk to you, and then you start to pull out these threads. Who can tell you about your dad and what was true and what was not, so you can separate mythology from reality?
Well, you know a lot of people. You must know some documentary makers.
Well, I know Brad Jones. He didn't do your dad's funeral, did he?
Well, it was there.
Okay, it was at Ridley Funeral Home.
It was. There's an Italian here.
It might. It all depends when Brad took ownership, because it was Arthur Ridley who owned it.
Oh, that's right.
Arthur Ridley sold it to Brad, and Brad owns it. But he's not the Ridley in the name Ridley Funeral Home.
Right.
He bought it from the Ridley. But you know what? Interesting. I'll find out from Brad when exactly. I think it's a little later than the late 80s, actually. So it's probably Arthur Ridley who buried. But you know what? I will say this, that all the records are there. I talk to Brad all the time. Mm-hmm. Like everyone who was buried at Ridley Funeral Home, even before Arthur Ridley owned this thing, it's all these records are kept. Like
right. Yeah, of course. Sure.
So we can start. Let's find out what's going on. I feel like we need some closure here.
Yes, I do. Please, somebody.
So I'll play a little music so we can drink our coffee for a bit. And then again, we're going to talk quite a bit about this new album that has come. What's the name of the new album?
It is called Under the Lampshade.
And is this the first album that Moe Berg produced for you?
This is the third album.
Go to the best. Leave the rest. Go to the best. Okay. So I'm going to play a couple of songs here, kind of as we cook with your career and everything, and I learn more about you. Now I'm totally fascinated about James Clark, my Mimico neighbor here from Alderwood. But you've never lived in New Toronto. That's first to 23rd.
No, but my doctor is in New Toronto, and his father delivered me. So, that's almost.
Look, it's too close for comfort here. Holy smokes here. So I teased a song that would tie back to Ridley Funeral. Maybe I'll do that one right now, actually, because we don't need to go in order. This is my show. I can jump at our.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me play.
This kind of ties in.
They're burning down the Alderwood, sweeping up my dreams, soot, finding bits of never coulds and always wishes. The villains down on 14th Street, suffocating the concrete, and their faces look so complete among the ashes. I need someone to help me break this family curse before I'm fixed for the company hearse. The factory up on Judlin Road, where we go once the doors explode. Now houses a different load behind the bricks and mortar. The Colonel's villa is up for lease. On the door hangs a sympathy wreath from all the ones who had the sense to leave and left this weight on my shoulders. I need someone to help me break this family curse before I'm fixed for the company hearse. I really thought it was gonna be you, but you decided you cannot deny it. You've much better things to do.
It's all going to tie together here, James. My mind is blowing right now. This is called Company Hearse. So how old is this song?
10 years. 10 years. This is the first track that Moe produced for me. In fact, that's Moe and myself playing on that track, just the two of us.
There's a Moe quality to this song, actually, and I love the song, and it ties in many, many, many ways. First of all, I took notes here. Okay, so you reference off the top, you mentioned Alderwood.
Yes, correct.
You mentioned 14th Street.
Correct.
What was going on 14th Street?
That was a street where my sister used to hang out, and I thought she's hanging out with the wrong crowd on 14th Street. So,
Very interesting. Okay. And that is New Toronto for those who don't know. You meant Jutland's mentioned. I know Jutland.
You do, yes. That's my father actually. When we were kids, he worked in a toy factory, which was located on Jutland.
Wow. And what exactly? So you're talking about like a family curse and getting a company hearse.
Yeah. Family curse. I just meant I'd always wanted to leave Etobicoke, Alderwood, New Toronto, Mimico. I'd had enough of it. All my friends, everyone I grew up with, moved away from here, and I didn't, and it really bothered me for a long time. And also my family, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, we all grew up in this little area, and so I just felt like it's a curse. We're here. We can't leave.
Right.
So that's where that comes from. Yeah.
All right.
And I wrote those lyrics long time before we actually recorded that song.
Well, here, let me blow your mind here. So I've mentioned Ridley Funeral Home a couple of times already. By the way, James Clark, I have a measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home for you.
Well, thanks.
A little memento from your visit here.
Wow.
So I can tell you, Brad Jones at Ridley Funeral Home just bought a new hearse, like a brand new 2024. What year is this, James? Okay. A brand new hearse. 2024. Right.
Yeah.
I guess Cadillac makes these hearses. They bought a new one, but he has a 2010 hearse that's in very good condition that he's now selling. So
Ooh.
I can tell that's just for fun. I only know this because I produce Brad's podcast, Life's Undertaking. But if anyone out there is interested in a 2010 hearse in very good condition, Brad's selling. It's like he said he's looking for about $25,000 for this thing. But if you're looking for it sounds like a reasonable price to me for a good condition hearse.
That'd be a good band.
I know there's a guy, Jesse Hirsch, who has a farm, and he's thinking it would be a fantastic farm automobile.
Yeah.
Like there's so many purposes outside of carrying
Absolutely.
dead bodies.
Absolutely.
Or the Mob, maybe. Maybe the Mob needs a
I'm just wondering what they measure with these.
Well, what would you like to measure of that, James?
I'm not really sure.
You'll know when you get there. Like when there's a moment you need to measure something, you'll be like, "Oh, thank goodness Toronto Mike gave me this."
Thank you.
tape.
Yes.
And thank you, Ridley Funeral Home.
Exactly. Thank you.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. And real quick here, before we get back to the music, I have a big question I ask all musicians that I'm very curious about that's coming up right next. But do you like Italian food?
I love Italian food. Yes.
I'm going to send you back to Mimico with a large lasagna. It's frozen and it's in my freezer right now, and it's courtesy of Palma Pasta.
Oh, I'm assuming you don't like pasta.
I love pasta.
Oh, okay. Because you're giving it away.
Don't worry, I keep some for myself, James.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I love Palma Pasta.
But
they sent one over specifically for you.
Really?
So, yeah.
Really? That's very
not
kind.
for the whole institute, because that's too many, but for you, James Clark. You're absolutely...
Don't worry, I'm not even going to tell them.
You know what, though? There's a lot. Like, you said there's 6 members?
There are now 6 members.
Okay, name the 6 members. Let's see if you can even remember their
Oh,
names.
Jesus. I knew this was going to happen. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. Well, there's me.
James Clark.
Yes. And then there's Tom Gibson, lead guitar player.
Okay.
There's Tim Gall, bass player. Greg Condy on keys, who has been with me since day one, pretty much. In fact, he actually plays on that Company Hearst track as well.
Amazing.
And who else? Dean Glover, who plays drums. And we've just added the 6th member. Her name is Marizia Gonzalez.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, our new harmony singer.
Well, I think there's enough lasagna. You can invite them all over.
I'm not. Forget it. No way.
I will. This is all going to tie in nicely. So not far from where you live is Great Lakes Brewery.
Correct. Yeah, you're right.
They sent over some fresh craft beer for you.
Really?
Yeah, you're bringing home some beer with you, some from
Mike,
Great Lakes. And
I
here's
love your show.
delicious, right? Like I know it's in our backyard, so we're kind of like partial to Great Lakes. But I've tried many a beer, and I'm telling you, Great Lakes is the delicious, and it's an independent, family-run operation.
Absolutely. Wow.
Now, they're going to host us. This is important, James. I don't know
Okay.
what you're doing on June 27th. Maybe you don't know yet, but it's a Thursday night from 6 to 9 p.m. We're all collecting. When I say we, I mean FOTMs across the globe, which means Friends of Toronto Mike. So people like yourself will all collect at Great Lakes Brewery 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on June 27, 2024. And Great Lakes will buy you your first beer, and Palma Pasta will feed you. And we're just going to have a good time. Like,
Wow.
just come out. Like, seriously, get that in the calendar. June 27, 6 to 9 p.m.
Okay. I'm in. What day?
Bring a
of the week-
guitar.
What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Okay, I'm there.
Okay, look, James Clark will be there, everybody. I mean, and it's a short jaunt for you to get to Great Lakes Brewery.
Yes, I can walk there.
You ever been to
And
a...
stumble home.
You can stumble home, absolutely. Have you ever been to a Toronto Maple Leafs baseball game at Christie Pitts?
I never have.
Okay, we're going to end that this summer. I'll talk to you more about that later. But I do have an amazing book for you to take home. Check it out. Seriously, this is an amazing book on the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. They play at Christie Pitts. First game is May 12 in the afternoon. It's a wonderful tradition. I'll be talking more about this, and I'll have some like exciting announcements to make about how I'll be involved with some of these games. But that's a kick-ass book on the history, and you're going to love it.
Okay, cool.
So, James, you got lots going on here. Okay. Who are
Thanks,
your
Mike.
musical... Yeah, no problem, man. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball, everybody.
Exactly.
And I will tease that coming up on the show is Rob Butler. Rob Butler played for our Blue Jays, of course, in the early 90s, and Rob Butler manages that Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. So he's going to come on, and we're going to talk about his career, the World Series, of course, and we'll talk about Toronto Maple Leafs baseball.
I just want to measure this book.
Yeah, measure the book, because you got to get some work into that measuring tape there. Hey, who are your musical influences? Like growing up, what were you listening to?
Beatles, of course. My brother got me into that. That was the thing about having an older brother who's into music. He just, turned me on all kinds of stuff. So he was bringing home, we lived on the street where we all there was kids and all roughly around the same age. So we'd all share records. And so, he's bringing home records like Beatles and Bob Dylan and The Who. And the first time I heard The Who, I thought, oh my gosh, wow. So it's all really, mostly my main influences would be from that first British invasion. The Kinks. I love the Kinks. I love Ray Davis, one of my favorite songwriters, one of my big influences for sure. And then, I went off as I grew up. I went off different directions, of course. But I find my songwriting is coming back to where I started originally. What influenced me originally.
Amazing. Now, what radio station would you be tuned into when you were a teenager?
Oh, I was CFNY for sure. Toronto's Rock, Q107 occasionally. I tune in. Yeah, I'd listen to Scruff Connors in the morning.
The listenership. Man,
that's right.
Scruff, who I loved from Q, but also he was on Hits 97.7. Loved Scruff Connors. I had his son on, and his son does TJ Connors, and TJ does an amazing Scruff impression. Like, this is the closest I'm going to get to getting Scruff Connors on Toronto Mic'd.
Wow.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. But absolutely love Scruff. Okay. But did you listen to Brother Jake?
Oh, I remember Brother Jake, yes.
Brother Jake. He did the Champ, remember?
Yes, that's right.
Licensed from McLean & McLean.
Yes.
And CFY, here's a little tidbit. So until this morning, so in my calendar for tomorrow morning, was it tomorrow? It doesn't matter. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., I think, was the return of basically the man behind the spirit of radio, David Marsden.
Wow.
Returning tomorrow, but I won't drop the news right now, except tomorrow in the Toronto Mike feed, there'll be a big update on this. David Marsden, his return to Toronto Mike. He's been on the program about 9 years ago, but he's been in the basement. But it's been a while. And anyways, so update on this tomorrow. So check your Toronto Mike podcast feed for the next episode, which will be episode 1444. So 1444, about a David Marsden update. But did you have any radio personalities at CFNY that you gravitated towards?
Pete and Geets. Yeah. Geets. Pete and Geets. That's it. Yeah. I love those guys. Yeah. They were my heroes for a long, long time.
Yeah, Pete and Geets. And these news, so Geets, so Pete's passed away a while ago, but Geets has been on the program. He's still with us. And the news guy and the sports guy. So the news guy on that show was Mike Stafford. Do you know this name, Mike Stafford?
Mike Stafford.
So he was the news guy on the Pete and Geets show. And the sports guy, Freddie P. from Humble and Fred.
Right. Exactly.
And Humble and Fred, although Freddie doesn't leave his Brampton home anymore, but since the COVID hit and he realized he doesn't have to, but their headquarters are at Queensway and Islington, which is not far from us at all.
Actually, the company Her Song, when that came out, I did a little guest spot on their show. And that time they were broadcasting from an office on 30th Street.
Yeah, absolutely. The part of town where shit's going down. Yeah, they were at 30th Street, absolutely, for many years before they moved to Queensway and Islington. Ready for me to blow your mind right now? I produced the Humble and Fred show.
No way.
Yeah.
You did?
I do.
You do?
I still
do. You do?
But I did and I do, yeah. So it all comes full circle here.
Wow, good for you.
Okay, I want to sip more coffee, so I'm going to play one more song here before we get to the new stuff.
Curtains thick with cigarette smoke have yellowed with time, and your patience for my party jokes have yellowed with time. We can try to hide it all behind friends and alcohol, but our vows and our know-how have yellowed with time. Yellow used to be the color of happy. Now we're facing the facts. We've become so yellow-belly while we're fading to black. Fading to black. Fading to black. Picture frames and kitchen stains are layered with dust. And the private investigator employed by mistrust awaits with his camera roll and envelopes full of findings he's found between dawn and dusk and dusk. And yellow used to be the color of happy. Now we're facing the facts. We've become so yellow-belly while we're fading to black. Fading to black. Fading to black.
I'm digging it, James.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
So this is Yellow. So again, how far back do we go with when you released Yellow?
That was 2021.
Oh,
we
that's pretty
recorded that.
recent.
Yeah,
Okay.
we recorded that. We were just before the pandemic hit. In fact, we had one more session. We had one more recording session booked, when the pandemic hit and everything was closed down. We had to wait about 6 months before we could actually finish it off. And then I released it during the pandemic, which is a dumb time to release a record, but I did.
But what were you going to do? Like,
Exactly.
I feel like now we can all look back and say, oh, this was weird and that was weird. And there's a lot of fucked up stuff going on, but it was like fucked up for everybody for a variety of fairly decent reasons. Like, you know, like, so what were you going to do? You might as well release some stuff.
Exactly. I had to get it out there. I had to get it out of my head.
What's bugging me now? I watched a short. I like to see the Oscar-nominated short documentaries so they're like, 15, 20 minutes long. I've been kind of going through these, and then I was watching one yesterday, which was very interesting, except that, people are wearing masks, and you can say, oh yeah, this was filmed. And it's like, for some reason, it bugs me now when I'm watching a show and I see the masks, and I know why they're there, because it was filmed during a time when it was like mandated you had to wear masks. But it's like, I don't really feel like revisiting that. Like,
Exactly.
I don't like how it makes me feel.
Yeah. And forever and ever and ever, you're going to know exactly when that was recorded.
It's like, oh, that was the pandemic. And then we'll be telling her, do you have any kids?
Myself?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's a good answer. Only because when I was talking to Cam about James Clark, that's you, by the way. I'm going to talk about you like you're not here. But I was instantly like excited to talk to James Clark simply because your name was James. And I find I have this reaction to all the James around the world because my firstborn son's name is James. So I have this like really warm thing towards the name James. And I'm like, yeah, I do want to talk to a James. Even if James, not that you are, but even if James was an asshole, I would say I'd like to, he can come over and I'll talk to him because I like James.
Well, even the biggest assholes, somewhere inside them, there is a nice guy, right? Somewhere.
Not all of them, though. Like, some assholes are just sociopathic assholes. Like, some of them there isn't any warm.
You don't think so?
I think there are some people who are just bad people.
You think even the biggest asshole couldn't like bake delicious chocolate chip cookies?
Well, I didn't say that, but if that's all it takes to, I love myself chocolate. I like, and I've been cutting back because it's really bad for you, but like, I really do like fresh homemade chocolate chip cookies dunked in milk. Because I've always liked it, and I have dramatically reduced my like cow milk intake.
Right.
Definitely, because I used to drink a lot of cow milk, okay? And then as my buddy Mark Carey would always say, are you a baby cow? And I'd be like, no, I'm not a baby cow. And he'd go, then why are you drinking cow milk?
Right.
But I still love that dunking chocolate chip cookies in milk.
Yeah. I don't drink milk anymore, but I will dunk a cookie into a glass of milk.
What kind of milk? Like an oat milk? What kind of milk are you dunking it into?
Well, probably, I'm ashamed to say, but cow milk.
Oh, okay. I thought you were off the cow milk.
Well,
I was thinking,
no,
okay, what's your alternative milk?
No. I mean, I've tried the alternatives, and they're all very good. But, if I'm going to dunk a cookie, I'm going to dunk it into cow milk.
Go big or go home on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm with you here.
You got to get it. You got to get a chocolate chip baker sponsorship or something for this show,
Yeah, absolutely.
and have me on again.
I would do that.
I'll bring the milk.
It's a short road for you. Okay, so that Yellow is another Moe Berg produced
It is
song.
Yeah. In fact, it's funny that the two songs you've played, and you've faded them out during the guitar solo, and those are both Moe's brilliant guitar solos.
Well, they're so brilliant. It's too much, right? It's too much for a Monday morning. Moe Berg's brilliant guitar solos. So you got to fade somewhere. Okay.
You're true.
When Moe comes over, I'll fade you down, and I'll just play the
Bring
guitar
out the guitar solo, right?
when Moe comes back. All right, we're going to get to Under the Lampshade maybe right now. But first, I would just like to let you know, James,
Yes.
whether you already have a trusted financial advisor or if you manage your own financial investments, I have the podcast for you. It's called The Advantaged Investor. It's from Raymond James, Canada. It's hosted by Chris Cooksey. Much love to Chris Cooksey. And it provides the engaging wealth management information you value as you pursue your most important goals. So you're going to subscribe to The Advantaged Investor.
Of course. Right away. Yes.
Right away. Well, I don't see you whipping out that phone yet. What's going on here? And I think you're a musician. I know you're a musician, but I think you probably have like a drawer full of old tech, like maybe old cables, old.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And like, you're never going to, that stuff's been there probably for 15 years now. And it's like that technology is like antiquated.
coming back?
No. Don't throw that stuff in the garbage, okay, James? You're going to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. You stick in your Mimico postal code, and it spits out, hey, right by you, there's this depot we accredited where you can drop that off, and they will properly recycle that, so it doesn't end up in our landfill.
What's that website again?
recyclemyelectronics.ca.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're learning a lot from this.
This is an educational show. I got to tell you.
We learned about Eleanor. We had,
Yep.
learned about Eleanor Collins. You're learning about you already knew where to get your good beer, but now you're learning where to get your good pasta. You're learning about. We're going to get you to Christie Pitts this summer for a Toronto Maple Leafs game. It's been
That's
wonderful.
Right. Wow. And it's not. The show isn't even over yet.
No, we're just getting to Under the Lampshade. So it is available now, everybody. Under the Lampshade. It's available now on all streaming services. And tell me, you can get the gatefold vinyl?
You can.
Where would you go to get the gatefold vinyl of Under the Lampshade?
Well, if you could come over to your house, because I have one in my bag right now.
Well, give it to me right now.
I'm going to.
You gave me a coffee.
But you could also pick it up. It's available at all fine record stores in Toronto. Sonic Boom, Dead Dog, Village Vinyl, which is just down the street.
I wanted to shout them out because they're right down the street near Islington and Lakeshore there.
Or if you're in the beautiful city of Oakville, PCV Records in Oakville, Revolution Records in Hamilton.
Thank you.
There you go.
Everybody, James has just given me I love it, vinyl, because, even though I have no way in this house to play it, but it goes on display here, and I mix them up, and they become like conversation. Because there's a James B, there's a Maestro Fresh West.
Well, look, I even brought you the last one,
and this is called "The Color of Happy,"
which includes the hit single "Yellow," which we just listened to.
Yeah, and it's not a cover of Coldplay. It's a whole original, and it's about cigarettes making things yellow, right? Am I
absolutely, yes.
And it fades to black.
Yes, just like my parents' marriage, which is what that song was written about.
Yeah, we got to make that mini doc. I feel like that we get this. This will be therapeutic for you.
I think so. I think I need it.
What side of 50 are you on?
The other side.
Okay. Just feel better late than never. I feel like this is important for you, and if I can help in any way, we're gonna get that done. I want to find out more about.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's important. Okay.
I'm dying, Mike.
Well, we're all dying.
I know, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Do you have a diagnosis?
Yes, I want to announce it here on your show today.
Well, that would be a real talk moment here. And again, I do have the funeral home sponsor.
That's true.
So we're sort of well equipped for that if you wanted to.
Yeah, we get Brad on the phone right now.
Brad takes my calls. Okay. Which one do I want to start with? Let's start with, again, we're now going to talk. This is now the Under the Lampshade segment, and we're going to dive deep into this. Available now. I pulled a couple of cuts from it. Let's start with this one.
Well, so much for looks being deceiving. You're an open book that requires no repeated readings. The shutters are all closed. You shudder to yourself. She's not coming back this time. The glow paint sets on the ceiling. In your pathetic world, you're a majestic fool, known to the ladies as Prince Alarming. And it's whatever o'clock in the morning, and you are literally all alone. It's whatever o'clock in the morning. It's time to take stock at whatever o'clock in the morning.
Whatever o'clock in the morning. That's what it is right now.
Let's just check my watch.
I'm digging it. What's this jam about?
I really don't know. It's actually, it's funny. I would say 99% of my songs are written from personal experiences. This one isn't really. Yeah.
I just realized as I was listening to the song, I looked down. I have a big stain on my sweater. Like you weren't going to tell me, James. Like I got tomato sauce. I think that's Palma pasta tomato sauce all over my sweater.
Sorry. I was looking in your eyes, not
I get lost in your eyes. Okay, I'm digging it. Whatever o'clock in the morning. So between, your realization you wanted to make music and like can you name check all the bands that you were in that were not the James Clark Institute?
Wow. Right now?
Well, yeah, you live this life.
Okay, well,
you're the authority.
We mentioned the Syntones. Okay. I also played in a couple similar bands. I'm in another band at the moment.
Okay.
A new band where I play drums. We're called Flashbangs, and we made our debut a week ago Friday at the Dakota.
What's the name? Who's in this band with you? The Flashbangs.
Flashbangs? It's not there's no the. It's just
That's important to you, right?
Yeah, it's just Flashbangs. It's myself on drums. It is George Westerholm on guitar and vocals. He also has a surf rockabilly band, which I used to play drums in, called George Westerholm and the Wild Wildcats. Woo. So, I used to play with them. I got fired. I don't know why. He never told me. But I guess he likes me because I'm drumming in this new band with him.
Well, you didn't ask him?
No, I
Are you afraid to find out, like, what it was?
Oh, I found out. I found out because they had a gig, and
you weren't invited.
I was invited to the gig, but I wasn't told about the gig. I was like, wait a minute,
you're not playing in that gig.
No. And I said, hey George, what's going on? And he just laughed. So, and then there's the bass player in Flashbangs. It's Sean Ryan, amazing bass player. He also has a connection to the James Clark Institute. He directs all the videos.
Oh.
Yes. If you've seen any of your videos, that's all Sean's work.
Yeah, I've been looking at a lot of James Clark Institute videos this past week, preparing for your visit. Okay.
Yeah. So he's a brilliant video maker.
But so this George guy, you're in a band, and then there's a gig for this band, and George doesn't, he doesn't tell you, oh, you're playing a gig. Can you play a gig with us this day or whatever? No. But did you attend this as like a spectator?
Way. You kidding me?
But you're in. But here's the thing: you're in a band with him now.
Yeah, I know.
The Flashbang. Oh, sorry,
there's no I mentioned this earlier.
Okay, I know you did, but. Spoons, this is a common discussion point on Toronto Mike. Gord Depp tells me he doesn't care, but you do care. This is important. It's just Flashbangs.
Well, this is coming down from George. It's not me.
I called a certain band Tragically Hip, and Jake Gold was not happy with that. He told me, no, it is not Tragically Hip. It is the Tragically Hip.
It's very important. Either you want it or you don't want it, and people get very
passionate about it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Flashbangs. Okay, yeah. So the fact that George has you in you're in Flashbangs with George. Mm-hmm. No awkwardness there. Like you don't resent George at all.
Well, of course I do.
No, of course you do. You're only human.
I joined the band just so I could play shitty and
that's very passive aggressive of you. That's like the most passive aggressive thing I've ever heard.
See, I am a bit of an asshole. See?
Yeah, but I don't like people who are purely sweet. Like I need a little assholery in there.
Right. No, of course I jest. George is a great guy. He's a great friend of mine. And if truth be told, I'm happy I don't play in that stupid band anymore.
Well, that was a shitty band, right?
Yeah, it was
Let's
a shitty band.
Here.
Yeah.
They sucked.
Yeah. In fact, his current drummer came out to Flashbangs debut. I almost said the Flashbangs.
You almost did. Yeah.
And he came out and he just stood there and tried to psych me out all night.
Yeah, just staring at you with arms crossed like that. Okay, well, I love to hear about what's going on in this great Toronto music scene here. Okay, so obviously Moe Berg, he's playing some guitar. I hear harmony vocals from Moe. Like that's Moe on harmony, right? I hear Moe.
In that track, yes.
Yeah, I hear Moe. And it's got, Moe is like the master of the pop rock thing. Like he's just so what does he bring to the table? Because you're writing these songs and he just makes them more Moe-ish. He
at times he can make him more Moe-ish, yes. But I think he really, he brings out the best of the song for sure. And he gets, I think what it is he gets where I'm coming from, and just knows what to do with the tune. Really
amazing. So we're live streaming at live.torontomike.com, and there is a question for you on the live stream. Are you doing anything for Record Store Day in April?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Will I be attending? Or
Like, well, I don't know.
performing,
Will
or-
James Clark Institute? Will there? I don't know. Are you doing anything
No.
for Record Store Day? It's okay if the answer is no. I think
The answer is
Jeremy's curious.
The answer is no, and the reason is because I work in a record shop, and so I have to be there.
Which record store do you work at?
PCB Records in Oakville, Ontario.
Well, that's why you shouted them out earlier. Okay,
Yeah.
very cool. Ben Rayner works in a record store now on the Danforth.
Which one?
I wish I could tell you the name of Ben Rayner's. Because I never. It's so far east. It's like that's a whole. It's like East York or something.
On
So-
Danforth.
Yeah, there's a record. So that's where you'll find Ben Rayner these days, and he's a good friend of the program. But we got to get Ben Rayner some James Clark Institute.
Yes.
But that's a good question. Is it the James Clark Institute?
It is. It's
So
right
if
there.
I-
It's right there on the graphic there.
And you're consistent, right? I won't
Yes.
find any instances where it's just JCI.
Although some people, I do play this music festival every year, and he always introduces us as James Clark Institute.
Right.
There's never a the in his introductions. Never.
And you've been holding that for a while here. Okay, what festival is this?
This is the International Pop Overthrow Festival. Yeah.
Are they back in 2024?
They'll be back.
Whereabouts are we talking?
They're going to be at the Painted Lady
Okay.
in November.
Shout out to Ian Thomas. Okay, very nice. Now, where did you record this new album, that Under the Lampshade?
This was recorded at Union Sound Company in the East End of Toronto. Incredible studio. Darren Miguel engineered the whole thing, and he's fabulous. In fact, he's strange. He's an ex, I don't know if you know this, but Moe Berg, of course, teaches a production course in London, Fanshawe College, and Darren is a past student of Moe's. So they get along famously. And Darren is just a very, very, very talented guy.
Awesome. Any relation to Bob McGill from our Toronto Maple Leafs?
I don't
We
believe
have to
so.
find out. We have to find out.
I never.
McGill's a common name, but okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
now
as common as Clark, though.
No, well, any relation to Wendell? I got a picture of Wendell in the studio here.
Oh, haven't I mentioned this? Yes.
Kelvington, Saskatchewan's own. A lot of Clarks out there. Let me kick out another song from this new album, if you don't mind.
Today is the kind of day to listen to blue, and a kind of blue too. Rain on my parade, cause the floats to wash away, and the wind won't inflate a kind of you. January 30th, the downpour was murderous, but I had some troubles to wash away. Refused by your wedding kiss, I perused my top 40 list, and I found a couple of mainstays. Now today is the kind of day to listen to blue, and a kind of blue too. Rain on my parade, cause the floats to wash away, and the wind won't inflate a kind of you. Number 3rd line when your telegram arrived, in black and white it was over. When the radio turned on me, the piano played blue and green, and these two standards became my saviors. Now today is the kind of day you said it's better when you're traveling. Miles and miles of meandering. Meanwhile, my sweater is unraveling, metaphorically. Don't you know today is the kind of day to listen to blue, and a kind of blue too. Rain on my parade, cause the
flows to wash away, and the wind won't inflate a candle. No, the wind won't inflate a candle. No, the wind won't inflate a candle.
When you're listening to that song, A Kinder You, I hope you're proud of yourself. That's an amazing song. It's hooky, it's happy, it's catchy. I'm digging
thanks.
every note there. That's a great song.
Thanks, Mike, very much.
Like, how are you proud of yourself?
I am very proud. I'm very proud of this whole album, actually. Yeah.
You think this is your best work?
I do, definitely. Yeah, so far, yes.
Yeah, you don't want to peak. You just want to keep like climbing the mountain.
Exactly.
Climbing the mountain
Yeah.
under the lampshade. Okay. Honestly, I'm listening to it. I'm like, yeah, like in 2024, how does an artist like you get radio exposure? Like, is there a radio station that will be in Canada that will be playing James Clark Institute? Sorry, the James Clark Institute.
Well, possibly college radio, possibly. They're actually, this record's been getting a lot of play on stations in the US and in the UK.
Good.
Which has been amazing. Yeah. And we're actually releasing a new single from the record Friday, March 22nd, a song called Phantom Girl. So it'll be a brand new Sean Ryan directed music video for that as well.
So what is it, if people are going to go to YouTube and watch and subscribe, just search James Clark Institute on YouTube.
Yes.
They'll find you. That's
Absolutely.
what I did, and it worked out quite well.
Yeah.
All right, couple
Easy
of notes
peasy.
here. Easy peasy. If you can't do that, then get off the internet.
Exactly.
You're not ready for it yet. Okay. Did you know if they remade Back to the Future, like if they did a 2024 reboot of Back to the Future, that McFly there would be going all the way back to 1994? Isn't that a mind blow? Like, I mean, that's obvious. You went back 30 years in 1985. So that's 30 years ago is 1994. But I just think that's kind of wild.
That is wild.
I know.
That's wow.
I know. I just, somebody pointed that out I saw on, I think on Reddit or something, someone pointed it out. And I was like, is that true? And I do a little math and I'm like, oh my God, yes, it is true. Because 30 years ago.
Well, I keep hearing about, these records that were released 30 years ago, celebrating their 30th anniversary this year. Like, what?
Right.
What?
What really gets me personally, as a guy I'm turning 50 this year, but like an album I bought at the record store and loved is turning and then I'll be hearing, oh, it's about to turn 40 or something. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really work because the Beatles were 40 years ago, right? Like I'm doing this math in my head and I'm like, something like I lost like 25 years somewhere in the mix there. That's
I don't
the
get it.
weird thing about time, right?
And it just speeds up as you get older.
Doesn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Couple of nice quotes here before we mop up and say goodbye. And glad we made this happen because, James, you're now a valued FOTM. I really enjoyed this convo, man.
And right back at you.
But there are a couple, I thought let's get a couple of nice quotes. So we've talked quite a bit about Moe Berg. He is a sweetheart. And here's a quote from Moe Berg about you. Okay, so we're going to, pump your tires a bit on the way out here, as if you need any more, tire pumping here. James takes the power pop traditions of the Beatles, Jellyfish, and Split Enz and combines them, I'm all choked up reading this, and combines them with the high IQ lyrics of Elvis Costello and Joe Jackson. The result makes him one of Canada's greatest unsung songwriters. Like, think about that quote. Like, you should just get that tattooed on your chest.
It's on my ass already.
Well, that's where it belongs. So, but that's an amazing quote from a great musician. But that's not wonderful. A quote because you cut a check for him, right? This is
No. We did the record, and I said, "Hey Mo, could you say a few words?"
He's comparing you to the Beatles and Elvis Costello.
I know.
You're not gonna get out of this basement if a head that big after this.
I'm definitely gonna bump my head on the ceiling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know. It's wonderful. When I read that, I thought, oh my gosh, Mo, you're a wonderful person.
Yeah, but he does. This is an interesting line. I just want to pick at before I read one more quote from another valued FOTM. But unsung, that word unsung. Okay, so he throws in a qualifier because he's not putting you there with Neil Young and Joni Mitchell because they're not unsung.
Nope, definitely not.
You're one of Canada's greatest unsung songwriters. Yeah. But we opened this conversation by remembering somebody I just learned existed, and she was here for a century. Eleanor Collins. Again, we come back to you're a South Etobicoke guy. That that you're Canadian. You're You
I am.
stuck around. Like you said, you wanted to get out. You never got out. You're
Nope.
still here. You didn't go to L.A.
I did not. No.
You're still here.
I'm right here.
Did you
In
walk
your-
here?
I did walk here.
Okay.
Two cups of coffee in my hand.
You got lots of stuff to walk. I got to figure out. You got to get you a bag or something. You got some stuff
Exactly.
to walk
Yeah.
back with you. That book is heavy, by the way, because I carried.
I know.
And it's, you got a lasagna, then it's going to be full. Okay. But unsung, why are there so many talented unsung musicians in this country? Why is it there a sentiment I have why we respect Neil and Joni so much? Because Americans
That's right. They
told
left.
us they were good.
They left Canada.
So tragically hip aside, which is sort of this own like anomaly, like an outlier.
Tragically.
Yeah. Jake's on line 2 here. Jake, what is it? Yes, I'm sorry. Okay. But what the fuck? Like, why are there so many?
It's been a head scratcher forever. I don't get it. I don't know.
Like we just take you for granted because if you were any good, you'd be I don't know, you'd be on the Billboard Hot 100.
Right. That's what it is. That's how people think too. It's like, oh, you can't be that good.
No hits.
You're here in Etobicoke. You can't be very good.
And they're going to be like, what's your hit that I heard on Kiss 92.5?
It's funny you say that because like I mentioned I work at this record shop, PCV Records.
Yeah.
And
PCV.
of course I sell the records in the shop, which is a great bonus for working there. And customers will buy it, but I almost feel like sometimes they're doing it out of pity or something. Oh, this guy works at a record store. He has a record. Okay, I'll buy it. And then they come back in and say, wow,
Yeah, it was good.
yeah.
Well, okay, so Cam's like, hey, I wasn't sure who James Clark was, but Cam Carpenter's like, this guy's good, and he's in your backyard. You should talk to him. And I'm like, okay, let me go listen to his stuff, okay? So I go and I start listening, and I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to James Clark, not because he's in my fucking backyard, but because it's good. Like, it's I wouldn't, and I always wonder, would a Moe Berg, obviously, that's his hustle. He's a professional. But
Yes.
if Moe Berg heard your stuff and it sounded like my stuff, would he take your money and produce
I've never
that?
heard your stuff,
Well,
so
let's just assume it's not very good, okay? Would he take your money and produce it regardless? I feel like Moe Berg has as a standard where you need to be good.
He's not going to put his name on your stuff.
Right.
I'm not meaning your stuff personally, but you know what I mean?
No, you could use me as a good example. My stuff would suck. And
Well,
Moe's not touching it. But your stuff is, my point is your stuff is good.
Well, thank you.
But he's got to qualify it by unsung. And I always think about who had their... Okay, so Ron Sexsmith just had his 60th anniversary show. Were you there at Massey Hall?
I was not, no.
Okay,
No.
I
Were
wasn't
you
there either. No.
Okay.
But I love this guy, Ron Sexsmith. And he's a guy who can go play in Europe and you can, people...
Well, he's a
come out.
guy because people like Elvis Costello and Paul McCartney and Ray Davis have
Said he's good.
Yeah.
But he can't point to the American hit, right?
No, not at all.
No. So therefore, he's sort of I think he's another unsung
Absolutely.
Singer-songwriter in this country.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I think it's about time we stop learning about these people when they die. This is my message on the way out here is, okay, why? And again, I'm sure I missed it all. Like, I'm sure Eleanor Collins was given her flowers while she was alive. I did read about a stamp. Again, you and I aren't seeing many stamps these days, but they did commemorate a stamp to her a couple years ago. I'm sure there were attempts along the way to commemorate this great jazz vocalist who walks amongst us in this country, Eleanor Collins. But I think it's strange that you and I, both in the last 48 hours, learned about Eleanor Collins. And I think it's time we sort of celebrate these great musicians and artists while they're with us, and we don't wait till they pass to say, hey, that this James Clark guy who just died, he was fucking good. Go listen to these songs.
Yeah. He's currently lying in Ridley's funeral home right now. Also, I just want to mention
Anything.
One thing.
Yeah, tell me everything.
Somebody had asked if I was doing anything for Record Store Day,
Yeah.
and we actually were going to play Rivoli on Record Store Day,
Oh, amazing.
but we're not.
No.
But now it's the week after, Saturday,
okay, I was gonna ask you,
April 27th.
Where can we see you? So April 27 at the Rivoli.
Yes.
Okay. Where Neil Young recently performed and recorded the night I was at, where was I?
Oh yeah.
I was at the Horseshoe to see Tom Wilson and Junkhouse,
Okay.
which was amazing.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
And then I'm biking home, and I'm biking by the Rivoli, and there's a huge camera. Like, it looks like they're filming a movie outside the... Like, I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, I don't know. They're filming something here at the Rivoli. And I go home, and then I find out the next day that Neil Young
Right.
played a private gig or something, and
Yeah.
they recorded it.
He's warmed up the stage for us.
But he's not unsung like you.
Nope. Never will be.
Is there a website where we can learn more about the James Clark
certainly
Institute?
can. You could go to clarkinstitute.com. Tell you everything.
And no
you wanna
Ian
know.
Clark, by the way. Some
Correct.
Clarks,
Yeah, a lot of people do this. I don't get it.
I get it with my last name too.
Really?
Like, there's just some last names can be with E and without.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Why do you go to the extra effort to put on an extra letter? Why?
Hey, we put an extra U in color. I'm looking at the color of
That's
happy
true.
right now, so we shouldn't judge that.
Okay. All right.
We-
All right.
Adding that extra U forever here. Fun fact, Larry Fedoric, who was a radio superstar, he was on 680 CFDR, for goodness sakes, but I produce his podcast, and he won't use Canadian spelling. Like, he won't spell check with the Q-U-E like we do. He won't put a U in color. Like, he's adamant. So, in our correspondence, he will not use Canadian spelling. He only spells things American way, even though he's born and raised in Canada.
Why is that? Do you know?
I know. I gotta get more specific as to what he just on principle.
See, I'm the other way. I refuse to spell things the American way.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
We're proud South Etobicoke Lakeshore Villagers.
Exactly. Yeah.
James, amazing to meet you.
Amazing to meet you, my friend. I can call you my friend now, right?
Yeah, we're friends. The
Okay.
F and
Neighbor,
FTM is
actually.
friend actually, and
Nice to
neighbor.
meet you, my neighbor.
We can hang out. Are you kidding me? And I hope I do get to see you at Great Lakes Brewery on June 27th for TMLX 15. That would be amazing.
I hope to see you at the Rivoli on April 27th.
Yeah, April 27. Oh, yeah, I was going to read one more quote, which I'll do here before I sign us out. Stephen Stanley.
Oh, yes.
Love this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Another unsung hero, but at least he was with this band. He's on this track, actually,
right.
as I play it, Lowest of the Low. He's on this album.
I wonder
But
what the connection was, but okay, here we are. Good.
if you tell me there's a finer songwriter than James Clark out there today, I'm going to come looking for you. That's a great quote.
It is. It is. Yep.
So that's game recognizing game.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be recognized by people that I admire.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,443rd show. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Toronto Mike. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery, Pelma Pasta, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Raymond James Canada, Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball, and Ridley Funeral Home. See you all tomorrow. It'll be clearer tomorrow when I drop episode 1444. But in the calendar is David Marsden. I'll explain more tomorrow. See you all then.
Everything is rose and gray. Well, I've kissed you in France and I've kissed you in Spain, and I've kissed you in places I better not name. And I've seen the sun go down on Shakra.